fast, let's crash. Badlands and mass.
This is like the 10th time of me trying to record this video. That's how much I forgot how to make videos. And with that being said, hello and welcome back everybody to the channel. I'm sorry, I know I've been really busy and active with this channel over the past couple of months. And what I think I'm gonna do with this video, because I don't want to reshoot it again. I would like to show you a certain ship that I've built in Minecraft earlier this year when I was about to do the whole Todd's Adventure episode 6, and I was really hyped about it and I wanted to build a new ship. You know, some of you guys know that I was really known for Minecraft ships back in the day in Vanilla Conquest, right? Some of you guys know the Gloria, the best ship in Minecraft on Ducon's channel. That was built in Vanilla Conquest, and earlier this year I gave the Reforged mod a shot, and this is literally the very first thing I've built in the Reforged mod ever, okay? So this video will purely focus on this thing, because I think it's pretty good, and some of you might want to see it. It's gonna be pretty long and very boring if you're not interested in Minecraft and not interested in ships at all, but I would like to show you some of it, not go too much into detail, because I forgot most of it again, probably, and at least the English names, and I'm really done with Minecraft. Again, you know, it's always short phrases where I go crazy and I'm building stuff like this, and then it's nothing anymore. But yeah, let's just pull through this video the 10th time now. So, as I said, earlier this year I built this ship. Let me fly around a little for you guys. See, I don't even have shaders. That's how old I am, okay? I don't even have shaders in this version of Minecraft. Let me get rid of the shed there. But yeah, I think you can see most of it. Probably best if I don't use shaders. I always build without shaders. Anyway, this is pretty much based on the exact same ship that Gloria on Ducon's channel is. It is inspired by the exact same ship. Now you ask, what's the main difference? Why is this one so much better? Perhaps you might already be able to see how much better it actually is by looking at it. But let me explain it very simple and oversimplified. With Minecraft Reforged mod, we have a lot smaller and a lot thinner blocks, and so obviously I was able to shape the hull a lot more organic and round, because the hull is really the most important and the hardest part to build on a sailing ship. The hull, that's the heart of the ship. And the shape of this hull took a while, you know, took probably a month. And I got a lot of help from Roll. You can see some earlier versions of this ship, kind of how I started it and how I tried to lay out the whole thing. You know, first did the main decks and then the ribs and everything. I'm not going too much into detail how I built this ship, but you can see, you can guess how I did it. It's not that hard to understand, but what is hard to understand is the shape. And I don't want to explain it to you because that would take weeks. But pretty much this ship is, you can't even compare it to the Gloria. It is that much better. It is that much more authentic. And so just keep in mind, this is based on the exact same ship, but it's like twice. But the Gloria is like twice the size of this thing. That's how much bigger the full blocks made it, you know. But obviously this is a lot more authentic, you know. It comes a lot closer to the real model back in the 18th century. The Santissima Trinidad, a Spanish first-rate ship, a heavy first-rate ship. Back then the biggest ship on Earth. Which the thing that made this ship special was that it had 4 full gun decks, right? You can count, it has like 1, 2, 3, 4 closed gun decks, and a total of 140 guns. The biggest guns are 38 pounders, I think, 36 pounders, so it's pretty freaking massive. It's pretty big cannons for back then. Guns, I'm sorry. So yeah, but then again, this is only inspired by the Centésima Trinidad. Obviously, I put in a lot of my own designs, so this is not a replica. It's just a ship that could have existed. That's what it is, you know. It's built to an authentic level and a certain degree of realism so that it could have existed, but it didn't. Yes. And it's not finished. It is not finished. You see, there are no sails, and I wanted to do sails for this one, but damn, sails are pretty hard and take a long time to build, and there's no flag here, and there's some interior missing, some really important and some really hard interior. You can already tell there is definitely a lot of interior going on. This is the orlop deck. It's right around here, and I'm gonna go into detail with that later. As I said, this video will probably be really long, but take it as a podcast. That thing I did back then, you know. If you have a moment, just sit down, relax, get some drink and some snacks, and perhaps you might enjoy this, because it's a very technical and a very complex build. In general, I always thought that ships, especially sailing ships, was one of the master classes of building in Minecraft, because it combines both very organic shapes with complex structures like the masts. I mean, everything about it. It has to be very in balance. Even if you build a fantasy ship, the whole thing has to be very balanced to make it look like it could actually float and made at least a little sense. And I'm just randomly flying around this, and you can already tell by looking at it. I hope I am recording. I think I am recording. You can already tell by looking at the amount of details and the layout that this is very well thought out. And Roland, he also built a ship, the Victory, which is over there. I'm gonna show you later. It's just as good as than this one, just a different ship and a little smaller. We really went nuts with the amount of detail, and yeah, it is a huge step up over the Gloria. The Gloria is complete shit against this, and has nothing against this. So yeah, if you thought the Gloria was good, this is gonna blow your mind. One thing you're also gonna notice right away is that I finally used ropes for the rigging and not fences anymore, which arguably look a lot better. And this allowed me to go much more into detail with the rigging. And I'm not gonna explain how the rigging works, because you don't want to hear it. But I think just from looking at it, you get a feeling of, oh, okay, this is probably how it looked. This could work. I can see this in real life. I hope. And that's thank you. That's a really big compliment, and I heard that a lot. So that's what I tried to do with this. Just by looking at it, being able to tell, okay, this is something different. This is definitely a lot more detailed and a lot more thought out than other ships. Especially with the hull. That is probably the most important part, even though many people don't even realize how important and how wrong the hull is on most other ships, and the rigging and everything, just everything. Much more complex. I looked through a lot of books, read a lot of things, and Roland and we both went very, very crazy and found out so much new stuff that I already forgot about. And so yeah, anyway, 140 guns, almost twice the weight, fully loaded, than the Victory. Over 1,000 crew members in battle, 1,200 or something like that during the Battle of Trafalgar. The ship which is this, which inspired this. It's called the HMS Fortuna. Probably not HMS, because that's His Majesty's ship, and it's a Spanish ship, but let's just call it like that. The Fortuna. It's a beauty. I really, really love the stern. I'm very, very happy with it. And if you fly away a little, you can already tell the shape of the hull. If you compare this with drawings of a first rate back then, you will find very many similarities because it's exactly what it's supposed to be. I think the lines on the hull, especially this line, low, you know, this line, you can tell this thing would float. And yeah, God, this was so much work. And I really have to give a lot of credit to Roll for the hull. He really helped me with this, because Roll is arguably the best ship hull builder on Earth for sailing ships in Minecraft. That's just how it is. But yeah, man, this took so long, and I redid it so many times. This doesn't do it justice. This is not the amount of tries I gave it. At least, I rebuilt the entire hull at least 8 or 9 times. Yeah, at least. Rigging and everything, you know, that's just... It's just looking at pictures and reading some stuff, and it's easy. But the hull is really where it's at. You know, the hull really makes the difference. So I'm very proud of that. The rest is just... yeah, easy. Anyway. I don't like the cannon design. It's still the old cannon design I used, but there's, like, as far as I know, no better possibility to build these. At least back in March or April when I built this thing. It's a little old now. Perhaps there are some new blocks that I've missed. Probably there are. And so the interior might or might not be outdated a little. I haven't touched this thing since at least 4 months now. And it's not finished, as I said. The interior is not finished, and the exterior is not finished either. Anyway, let's check out the interior, shall we? So, this is the poop deck, and this is the captain's quarters. And the steering wheel, the rudder, the steering wheel, yeah. Lots of high-ranked administration rooms, and master's cabin, and you know, everything. And this is the captain's quarters. So this is his personal own space. He has his little balcony, and he has a toilet. Interestingly enough, these toilets, because there's 6 toilets, 3 on both sides of the stern, they were actually connected with a pipe that flushed out shit and passed it over to the sea, which is, yeah. So this is where he works, this is where he invites guests over, and this is where he sleeps. He has his own little cabin. This would be closed, obviously, and he has a big hammock. That's where he sleeps. So, captain's quarters. Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Steering wheel. Let's go down the main way, actually. This is covered up just for rain. Usually they could cover up this too, but I wanted to display that there's an opening here, and obviously the lifeboats or the safety boats are on there, but they probably would cover this up too on sea when there's a storm coming. So let's go down here. Notice the painting of the masts change also. Just really quickly look at the amount of detail just from the mast. I'm really, 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 really happy how this turned out. And yeah, come check it out on the server. There's no warp. You probably will never find it, but perhaps somebody knows where it is when you're online. So this is the 3rd gun deck, which is the smallest, and it has the smallest calibered guns. I think it's 18 pounders or 24 pounders, which is small for this ship. So yeah, the crew has, like, it's 6 crew members per gun, and then they have a table which folds up and hangs and swings on the ceiling, and they would sleep in hammocks which they would place over their gun. which is displayed on a deck lower than this. Like this, for example. This little detail I also explained in Ducon's video. Maybe somebody of you recognizes that. Not gonna say what it is. Sickbay, I think it explains itself. This is where the sick people would get, especially if they might be contagious. They would be shut off from the rest of the crew, so they get their extra room. This is not the surgeon's room or anything. There's a place deep down in the hall where that is, but this is the sick bay for sick people that might be contagious. And this is the bowsprit, and it has 2 doors and toilets. Lots of toilets. Well, not lots of toilets, but it mainly has these 4 toilets. These are supposed to be toilets. You just, you know, sit on there and do your business. And these toilets are at least for 800 men. 900, probably more. And then we have officers' toilets. Yeah, yikes. If you want to know more about this, watch Ducon's video on the Gloria. I think I'm not gonna explain that much in this video because it will be too long. These are the toilets, like this one. You can see it's also closed. It's not an officer's toilet, it's for the sick people, so that illness doesn't spread around, obviously, because toilets is always yikes. So next to this there is an officer's room, I think. Not really too sure. Oh yeah, this interior is based on the HMS Victory and mixed with 2 other Spanish ships of the line. So again, just like the exterior, this interior totally makes sense, and it could have existed. But the Santissima Trinidad had different interior. There is a layout of the interior, and I based the stairs on it, for example. But there's no closer details about it like we have on HMS Victory. So I mixed the 2, combined it, and voila, this is what turned out. And I think it's pretty good. So over here we have the Admiral's quarters, because this is the flagship of the fleet, so it has an admiral on it. You know, the captain of the ship is responsible for steering the certain ship, and the admiral is responsible for the entire fleet. So he's always really busy, and this is his quarter, and you can tell it's a lot bigger. This is where he could dine with friends. This is actually the ropes from the steering wheel. You can see steering wheels right over here. And again, master's rooms and high administration's rooms around. And this is where he would invite people to dine with him, have meetings, have talks. These walls they could just grab and put to the side, so this is actually one big room, but they could separate it, just like in a modern office, basically. This is his own personal space. This is where he worked. This is where he did all his, you know, all his planning and stuff. And of course, he always has his own private toilet with toilet paper, by the way. I'm pretty sure they didn't have toilet paper, but they used towels, I guess, for the administration, and a wet robe for the rest of the crew in front. And a toilet for the guests as well. And he has his own balcony on which he can stand and look into the distance dramatically and think about important decisions in life. So, Admiral's quarters. Yeah, nice. Haha. Fucking horrible design for the ceiling, because back then, I'm not sure if there is now. Yeah, there's no slab block for this texture, which is, I don't know why, but there isn't. And so it looks a little weird. Yeah. Admiral's quarters, captain's quarters. This is the 2nd gun deck, which we already went through. Again, 6 crew members per gun. And you can tell there's not always a table, but if there's not a table hanging, the ship... okay, bad example. There should be a table hanging on the ceiling then. This is like the only gun deck where I didn't put in that example. Oh god, okay, so usually if the table isn't folded, or isn't hanging here, I would place them on the ceiling, but I can't here because of the hammocks and the lamp. Okay, so that's why there isn't, because there's no space to build a block to place a block in Minecraft. This goes down into the kitchen, and this is actually the chimney for the kitchen. And let's go down further. This is like, yeah, pretty self-explanatory actually. One of the capstains responsible for pulling in the anchors. I'll explain how that works in the first gun deck, which is below us and the biggest one. So this is the third gun deck. This is the third gun deck. This is the second gun deck. Again, it has 4, and the first one is the lowest and the biggest, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And below the first gun deck is the Orlop deck, which is the first deck, which is underwater and therefore the most safest place, and that's also why the Sergeant is placed on the Orlop deck, and all the clothings and guns and everything. And then below the Orlop deck there's the hold, which is not finished on this ship, so I can't show you that. It's really disappointing. And you can tell I placed some hammocks on this deck already, but I'm going even more crazy with that on the first gun deck. And again, all the tables, and they're playing chess and whatnot. This is the kitchen, responsible for cooking for the entire crew. Not the high-ranking officers, but for all the rest of the crew, so over 1,000 people in case of a battle. Yeah, they make food and bread and soup and everything. They prepare that here. Probably not that delicious. Probably not. No, very bad food on a ship like this. Not good times. So this is the oven. Pretty big. They could bake and cook stuff in there. Quite detailed. This is the first mast, front mast. Just an area for the crew to hang out. A smith. He doesn't make weapons. He is making nails and repairs tools and makes tools. And important, he has a window so the smoke can go out and he has some light. One thing I have to admit that I don't like about this ship at all: the gun ports. You can see the gun ports are 2 blocks high, and usually what I did on the Gloria, if this, right, this is the gun deck, like this is the height of the gun deck from outside, okay? It's 2 blocks, and usually I would place the gun in between those 2 blocks and put a slab on the top and on the bottom, right? So the cannon would look through here, and this would also allow light to flow in the ship, and it made the whole thing look a lot more like a ship. But since I made the entire hull out of trapdoors and vertical slabs, half blocks, I now can't place slabs, normal slabs, on top and bottom, because then it would totally look out of place. You know what I mean if you're a builder. Unfortunately, there are no like half slabs, like half the thickness. You know what I mean, like trapdoors, but then like only a quarter of a block. So I'm not sure if that's out by now, but it wasn't when I was building this, so I couldn't probably build the gun ports. So there's now only 1 block opening to the outside, and that makes the whole thing really dark. You know, usually you would see light coming through here, and that looked a lot better. So from inside, I think that is one very strong point against this kind of hull, but still everything else about it is a lot better than on the Gloria. But the gun ports, really, I don't like them, and I hope to be able to fix them at some point. Perhaps there's a smaller block coming out and I can make, like, delete this portion of the block, right? Just have the upper part, so there's light coming through, because the gun port is in between those 2. Okay. So yeah. And again, of course, in every room there's interior and a gun. Usually, there's always guns. So many guns, 140 of them. My god, what did they do with all these guns? And you notice there's a water pump here. Not gonna explain how that works. So, first gun deck, most important gun deck, probably the most interesting gun deck and the biggest gun deck and my favorite gun deck. And also the fullest. Oh my god, it's stuffed with stuff. What is going on here? A lot of ropes. You notice, they are all sleeping. What state is this ship in? I don't know, probably not during battle because they haven't pushed out the guns. If they would push out the guns during battle, there would also be a lot more space in here. But I decided to keep them in because it looks better from the outside in my opinion. And so this is not a battle state ship, this is a chill state ship. They're all chilling at the moment and doing whatnot. So yeah, there are still a lot of hammocks. Obviously they would clean up the place in the morning, and you can tell there's a table hanging. That's a table, just like this. And yeah, they would sleep in three in these hammocks. Like obviously the crew wouldn't all sleep at the same time, right? But they would, and several people would sleep in one hammock. They were like really big, and I don't know how many, but I think at least 2. So yeah, lots of hammocks. Probably not enough if you look at the Victory, but you get the idea how they would sleep. Very uncomfortable, very shaky, and my god, the noise, and my god, the smell. You can't imagine the smell on this thing. Am I recording? Yes, I am recording. Oh my god, that would suck so much. So, the ropes. What's going on with the ropes? A lot of ropes here. These are the anchor cables. They are coming from outside. They're supposed to come outside, actually. It's, 2 anchor cables. But actually only one is coming out because the second anchor is a exchange. Not exchange. It's if the first anchor gets destroyed, they would use the second. There's 4 main anchors, like 2 on each side, and if they get destroyed, they have another one at the same size, and then they also have several smaller anchors, which I never noticed before. But they do. There's like 8 anchors in total. But these anchor cables are for the main anchors, and it's displayed with 1 anchor cable, which is this one, and it's supposed to come outside. So it's the first anchor hanging on this side of the ship. Now, this is very easy to explain, actually, how this entire system works. Even though it looks very complicated, it's not complicated at all. It is very simple once you understand it. Like with all things in life. So this is a capstan, and they would have these huge sticks, right, that are hanging here, and they could push them in at the side, so it would look like this. Okay, and they can push this. Okay, they need 120 men to just to pull up 1 anchor or more for a capstan. They would push this. And the whole thing rotates, and it's it collects okay, it rotates, and there's a fixed rope, right? There's a closed rope. This rope, the higher one, it's a circle. Okay, it's a rotating circle. It's a closed rotating circle, a really thick rope. That's what's connected to the capstan. Okay, that is not the anchor cable. It's not. This on the ground, which in real case would also be floating, but this is the anchor cable. And what they would do is, obviously they can also only pull up 1 at a time. What they would do, they would connect the anchor cable with this rotating cable with these little, I forgot all the English names, but they're supposed to be connected. So they would just like hook, they would just hook them in here, and then the anchor cable would rotate with the rotating rope or cable from the capstan, right? So they push this entire thing spins, it rotates, and they hang in the anchor cable, and that's how it gets pulled up. And then the anchor cable goes in here, down there, into the cable magazines. No, what's the name? And the cable tier, or anchor cable something. I forgot all the English names, but it's in the hold. And that's how it works. It's really, really simple. Rotating circle of a rope. They hang in the anchor cable, and it gets dragged with the rotating rope. Simple. That's how it works. Takes a lot of manpower, a lot of strength, and this is where this is just a safety thing, basically, where they would connect the anchor cable so it doesn't fall or slip and, you know, do a lot of damage. These things are actually these are like little masts. They go all the way down to the bottom of the ship because they hold the weight of the anchor while they're pulling it up. So yeah, really thick things. And they would sleep everywhere. They're literally sleeping everywhere. They don't care. So for space purposes and reasons, they could take these sticks out, you know, and they would hang up somewhere, and they could walk around, and it's a lot easier. But I would like, I just wanted to display. That's a stair, by the way. I just wanted to display the main capstan, how this would work. You know, they could pull that stair up as well, and they had to push the cannons to the side actually, because it was really big, but it needed to, you know. And it's connected with another one on top. We already saw that, and they would push that too. It would take that much manpower. And this one is actually just for safe, it's a second capstan, but I haven't really figured out for the purpose for it, if it's for the extra anchor or whatnot. Anyway, this is the water pumps. Not gonna explain how that works, but they rotate it and it pumps up water from the hull, and you know, you can get it out of there. Yeah. Buckets full of water. Back here, it's an area for children. If there are any on board, they would, you know, they could close this with a curtain, have a little bit of privacy, but in this case, there's just a crew sitting around here and having a talk, and then there's also little higher ranked rooms in these corners, and gun ports that go out to the back, to the rear, and they could take a gun, obviously, and put them here and fire outside. Yeah. Oh, also, yeah, too much detail. Not. If you want to really know all of this, let me know, but I don't think you do. There's just so much I could tell you. Like, it's going on for. This could be. How long is this video already? 33 minutes, for fuck's sake. This could be like an hour, at least. Okay. All up deck. My favorite, probably. Probably everyone. No, I don't know. This would be where the surgeon would be, but the interior isn't finished. Surgeon, you know, this would be where the admiral's clothing would be, and captain's clothing, and lots and lots of different rooms that I didn't finish. Hanging magazine, I explained that in Ducon's video. Basically, this is where they would store powder charges, and little boys would crawl in here and prepare powder charges and then get them up there, and yeah. Also, they're sleeping here again. Carpenter's walk goes around the entire hull, so the carpenter could repair the hull in case it has some damage. Sail room, no, pump room. These are the water pumps. Yeah, cable tier. One for left, one for right, and they actually cross. So the right one goes left and the left one goes right. Cable tier is pretty big, and they would also sleep on top of that, but there's no space in Minecraft to build it. Where am I going? What is this? The sail room. They would store the sails in here. Pretty self-explanatory. Lots and lots of stuff going on. Oh my god, so many stairs. Where are they leading to? Nobody knows. Lots of rooms. This is actually the carpenter's the carpenter's room. You can see he is building a bench or something. He has some wood in here and stuff. heavily inspired by the Victory, if you know the interior of the Victory. Boatswain, not finished. Nothing finished in here. Yeah, but I never will finish it, and that's why I'm showing it to you, because I will never finish it. So this would lead to, oh my god, I can't even find it. The main magazine of the ship. This is where the weapons are stored and the gunner is, and you can go down here into the main magazine, which I haven't built. Yeah, beautiful. This is the hold, and there's nothing in it. These are the hanging magazines. You can tell they're hanging magazines because they're hanging. They're literally in the safest spot possible. They're between two decks below the water line. But they can also not fill with water because they're not, like, they're floating. Really clever. So that's where they would store powder charges, and then right around here would be the main magazine, which I didn't implement in this build, but I have a version, I think. We go upstairs again. I should end this video now because it's too long. But thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching all of it. If you did, you're pretty crazy, but perhaps you might like ships, perhaps you might like Minecraft, and I think this is a very interesting and very complex build. If you want to see more about this, because I always imagine doing like little episodes with like a full museum tour, you know, going much more into detail with all the rigging and everything. But I'm just not motivated at all to do this, and I don't think anyone wants to see that. But if you do, let me know. But yeah, probably won't do it. Perhaps I might though. Yeah. Yeah, the all-up deck, real quick. This is an overview of the all-up deck, and I'm not sure if I have built the... Oh yeah, see, this version has the main magazine. So this is where they... this is where all the black powder is stored, basically, next to this room, which I can't get out of. In all these barrels, you know, this is all black powder. So very, 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 very explosive, and that's why it's also shut down individually, so water wouldn't float it and it couldn't catch fire. There's no fire allowed in here. It's only lit through lamps and glass that shine through glass, and they're in another room, and yeah, so this would be filled with black powder, and then they would prepare little charges, and this could be spilled water in case some fire comes in here. But yeah, very highly secured room. Very interesting if I would have ever finished it. But I hope you enjoyed this long, very long tour of perhaps one of the best ships, probably one of the most complex ships in Minecraft. Real quick, one last thing, let me show you Roll's Victory, because it is a fantastic ship also. So this is my Fortuna, a little bigger than Roll's, because I always gotta be bigger, because I have a small penis. So this is the Victory, and I can tell you, this is the most accurate version of the HMS Victory you will find in Minecraft. I don't care what anybody says. This is the best Victory in the game. There's nothing else that comes close to this. The amount of every single block, like every meter, is close to the original one. He's been on the original one. He's looked at the videos thousands of times, and all paintings and all plans and everything. God damn, Roll is crazy, and you can see he also is very, 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 very good with his hull and everything else. And yeah, the interior is even a little more finished than mine, I think, except little details which he thinks is unnecessary to finish, like all the guns and everything. You know, that's just the small. Everybody can build guns, but the important stuff is finished on his ship, and then he loses interest. You know, and I always put everything full with details, and then I lose interest too. So yeah, both ships are not finished, but at least 90% probably. No sales though, sadly. But yeah, hope you liked this video. I might do another video explaining what went wrong over the last few months and how I lost all motivation in making videos and whatnot. But for now, I just wanted to show you this this ship, so it didn't go completely to waste, because I will not finish it probably ever. And it's a very good ship. And I put in a lot of work, months and months of work and planning and research. A lot of research. Yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a good one.